Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. I'm Ayoub from Qodly Customer Success Team, and today I will show you how to start using Qodly Studio for 4D. Before start using it, make sure that you have at least 4D, 20 R2 or higher, that you work on project mode. You can use 4D client or 4D server, and make sure that you use Orda in your project. And here's some browser that support Qodly Studio. Chromium browsers like Chrome and Edge and Firefox. So let's start with our database. We have a 4D database with some data in it. And to start using Qodly Studio, you need to go to File, Web Administration. Make sure to set launch web admin server as startup and enable access to Qodly Studio. And if you want to access to Qodly Studio with an access key, you can set it here. Just click on access key, define it, and click on OK. After that, you need to go to Design, Settings, in the web part. You need to set Expose as REST server and enable access to Qodly Studio. So now we have everything set. We can start using Qodly Studio. I just want to mention one thing. If you use Qodly Studio, the model in Qodly is not going to be opened. So if you want to make any change in your database, please open for the model. Let's go back. And let's start with our first demo. So when you start using Qodly, you will have that you have access to many components that you can use to create your web form. And using this web form, you can use your page. So the first one is Stylebox. Stylebox is a unique component. I like this one because it makes me group all the elements, and I can control how organize them or how to display them. So in it, I can add, for example, the select box here, and here's a message. Please attach a data source. So if I want to display in a data, I need to create a data source. And to do it, we can go to the data source. I will create in this web form. I will call it users. It's an entity selections. The type is users. I will get all the data. So I click on confirm. After that, all you can do is drag in and drop it here. So our component is linked to the data source user, but to display the informations, for example, I want to display an image with the first and the last name of the user. So to do that, it's really easy. I can drop the image. Set the width and the height. After that, I drag and drop a text component. I can bind it to the first name. To do that, you need to choose $this. After that, first name, click on bind. I will drag and drop another text component and bind it to the last name. Here is it. So to display the results, you can just use this icon, the eye icon, to preview in the studio. So here is it. Now I have all the elements. But if you noticed, I forgot to bind the image. So this is why the image is empty. And also the first name, there is no space between the first name and the last name. So to fix that, I can come here in the data source, avatar, and in this style box that will group all my components, I can just come here and add a gap, for example, 10, and save it. Now, if I click on preview, you will see that I have all the information that I want to display. Now, let's move to another component. It's I want to display a chosen user. So for example, here I have a select box that contains all the users, but if I select one, I want to display the data here. To do this, the first step is to create a data source, an entity. So I click here, I will call it user, it's the first element. All right, this I will put none, click on confirm. And now in the select box, I can bind the select element to the user. So now when I choose a user from the select box, it's bind to the user. And to display it, I will create another style box, and in it, I can display the image. And here I want to display the first name, the last name, the email, and the address. To do that, I will add another style box. But if you see now, I want to make this style box next to the image. To do that, I need to go to the parent or the style box here and change the flex. So now the direction of the flex is 0. If I put it vertical, it will change, but what I want is horizontal. Let's put some text here. Another one, and the third one. First, the first name is user. Okay, so now let's display the result. Here is it. So it's the first element that is already chosen here, but if I change the user, for example, choose this one, I get all his informations displayed here in this area. So it's really easy to display data using Qodly Studio, but it's not what Qodly Studio is capable for. So next, I want to show you that we can add some quick actions, standard actions that we already have in Qodly Studio. So, and we can use it to, for example, to order the data here in the select box if we want to change the order. To, for example, to just get top 10, to clear this, or to clear this part, or to reload the data if it's filtered. To do that, I want to add some buttons. So to do this, let's drag and drop at your style box, and in it, I will add 4 buttons. You can play with the flex to choose how to display your components. For me, it's really easy to use the flex with the gap to display the buttons in the middle. So the first buttons we're going to call it order, and if you click on this icon, you can add any event you want. So for me, if I clicked on the button, so it's the click event, I want to order the results in the style box. To do this, it's really easy. So I click on it, I choose the data source, it's the users. I choose the order, and I choose the criteria. So the first one is the first name, and I can add also last name. So it will be ordered by first name and then the last name. To check the results is really easy. Here is it, the first selection, and when I click on order, here is it, an order selection. The second standard action that I want to display is clear. So if I click on it here, choose standard action, it's this time it's the user, and here is it clear. And if you noticed, we have many actions. It depends on the type of the data source. I will not talk about all of them, and I will let you discover them. So now, for example, I choose this user by I want to clear this area. If you click on clear, it will clear the user. And if you noticed, this area is cleared, and also the selected element is cleared because there is nothing in it. And also, now I'm going to talk about for the functions. So you can use events to call a function. Now let's choose this one. I will call it top 10. And I want, when I click on this button, I want just to get the first 10 elements. So here you will check that I have many functions. I will choose top 10s, and the result, I will put it in the users. So if you check now, we have many entities in the selections. If you want to display how many entities in the selection, it's really easy. You can add some configurations into your style box, select box component. So here, for example, we can choose the number of items. Instead of displaying 5s, we can display 10. And we can show the length, and also we can enable the search. So let's search by the first name and the last name. Let's go back here. We have 1001 users. For example, if I did a search, here is it, the result of the search. You can find it here. We have 4 users with the name Ray in it. And if I click on top 10, I need to. Okay, so there is a problem here. Let's check if the functions is already. Okay, so I have 1001 users. And if we click on top 10, we will have 10 users. So we can call 4D functions. It depends if it's in the data class, in the entity class, on the selections class. You can call it and do whatever you want. But now I have 10 users. I want to add another functions, reload, and when I click on it, I want to get all my users here. So to do that, it's really easy. Let's go. It's a standard question. Standard event, data source is the user, and here is it, reload. And you can, for example, for some actions, to display a feedback. So if I get all the users, it will display refresh successful. Otherwise, it will display refresh failed. And you can change it. For example, if it's okay, it's okay. Otherwise, it's gone. Let's go back here. So here we have 1,001 users, 1001 users. If I click on top 10, we will have 10 users. And if I clicked on reload, here's our feedback. It's displayed and we have 1001 user. And now I will want you how I will want to display how to create some data in the database. To do that, we have the file upload to upload all kinds of files, images, etc. And we have text input that we're going to use to set the first name, the last name, email, etc. So to do this, let's add a new style box. And in it, extract the upload binary. I will change it to upload picture. Add the first input, second one, and the third one. First one is first name. Email. I will add a button here. I will call it and let's add some gap here. To do this, we can use this entity user, but it's going to display the same informations here in this part and in the inputs. And to avoid that, I will create a new data source. And to do this, it's a new user avatar. The first name is so to save the entity, we need to add a standard actions. It's in new user, and here's save the entity, and we can display the feedback if we want. So now let's test it. So we have the user logo. Yeah. And here's save successfully. So now if we check here, we're not going to get the user. Why? Because the selection is already we already get the selections before saving the new entity. So to fix that, we can, for example, when we create a new user, we can add these actions and add another one on users and click on reload. So here is it. And now if I look for Ayoub, it's already here. That was our first demo. So I used several components here. I used the select box, the style box, the text, buttons, and the text input. I also use image and file upload. But we have some powerful components that I'm going to show you. The first one is the matrix. So the matrix is a component that help us to display the data wherever how we want to display them. For example, if you want to display them as a card, maybe as a table, maybe you have some specific form that you want to display, the best way to do it is the matrix. So to do it, you need to create a data source. I will call it products. And I will create an entity. I will call it product. And now let's drag and drop it into the component. So here it's linked or bind to the product, and the selected element, it will be product. And now let's create our matrix. I want to display my product and display some data like titles, the descriptions, category, rating, stock. So to do it, what we can, for example, do, I can make this sidebox smaller. So instead of having all this width, I can just make it 50%, so it's the half. And the height, I can like 100 pixel. Let's start with 100 pixel. If it's not working, we can change it after. Now in it, I want to display the image of the product and the data next to it. So let's drop another style box. We have to. The image is quite big. We can change it to, here is it. And we can change the style of it, make it more rounded. Yeah, like this one. And instead of having all this width, we can make page content. And I can put whatever I want on it. So let's start with the title. So is $this. So to display the data and the metrics, or we can use $this, or we can use our iterator. So I will show you how to do it if you want to change $this. So for now, if I will use $this to display the data, but I won't change it after. So $this image. So here's our first result. We have the image of the product and we have the title. So as I mentioned in the metrics, you can change $this to wherever you want. For example, let's call it $product prod, like this one. So now if we click on preview, nothing will be displayed. It's normal because we did change the area. So, and you got a red flag here, so it mentioned that something is wrong. So to fix this, it's $prod dot image. After that, it's prod title. And let's add the category, the description, and I want to display the stock and the rating in the same line. So to do this, we can do it simply by adding a new style box, and in it. Okay, so the size is no good, so let's change it. Okay. Okay, so to display them in the same line, stock and ratings, go to the parent, the style box parent, and change the display. So we can do this, and let's check the result. So here is it. So we have the image, we have the title, the descriptions, the category, the stock, and the rating. Now, for example, I want to see all the products that have, for example, more than 4, that's 5 in the ratings. I want to show them in red, and the other one I want to show them in black. So to do this, we can simply apply a format here, like this one. It's like Excel format. Right. And let's check if it's going to work. Here is it. So it's not the good one. I need to fix it. Here is it. Okay, so all the products that have in the rating more than 4, that's 5, it will be displayed in red. So you can apply format if you want to change colors, etc. But now I want to add some functions to this part. For example, I want to add search. If I have all the data here, all the products, but for example, I want to look for the iPhone 9. To do this, it's really easy. You need to add a text input with a button. But first, let's create a new data source. We're going to call search. It's a string. Okay, let's do the width. This one, change display. And let's add another button here. First one is search, and we can apply a standard actions on the products selections, query, and we can make it like title and add placeholder, and here we can bind it to our search like this one. So now if I'm looking on iPhone 9, it's not working. So the problem here is the search is not an exact one. So is the title. I want to make sure that I have the right one. It's the product. Okay. So we have all the products here, and let's check for iPhone 9. Yeah. So did I miss anything? Is the query? Ah, okay, my bad. So I forgot to bind the search to this data input. So when I do a search, it was with an empty string. So to fix that, I had to bind the data source search to the input, the text input, and now if we searched for iPhone 9, yeah, here is it. I have some duplicated data, so it's normal to have two iPhones 9 here. The problem here, if I looked on for an iPhone, nothing's there because We cannot do a query with conchains. So to fix this, it's really easy. I will create another button. And instead of using standard action, I will use a function. It's on the product, it's search. I will find, I will search and return the result in my datasource products. So now, if I looked for iPhone, click on search, there is nothing. But if I click on search with 4D, I will get all the data that contains iPhone. So it's really easy to call 4D actions. I can show you what's in it. So it's an easy function, search in the title or the category with the contains. So if the title or the category contains the term that I'm looking for, it will get me the data. So this is the easiest way to do a search. So now I create this style box. It helped me for searching for to do some searchings in this matrix, but I want to reuse it. So what I can do? So in Qodly, if there is any part that it can be used in the others waveform, you can just create it or save it as a craft. So I will call it search. I can, for example, give it a good icon like this and create it. Now it's saved. So if I go to craft, here is it. And now, because I will switch to the data table, I can reuse my craft component or my custom component. I can just drag and drop it, and here is it, and can reuse it. And it's already bind to the actions. So for this one, it's bind to the standard actions query, and this one, it's bind to my function search. So you can save whatever you want or reuse as a craft and use it later. Now, let's move to data table. For the data table, we have some examples. So you don't have to recreate your data table and set the CSS, etc. So you can just go here in the data tables. You will have some examples. For me, I think I'm going to use this one. So I just drag and drop it here. And I have a table that contains some informations that I can change. So for example, here, the data source is member, but I don't have member. So I need to recreate all my data source that I already create for the matrix. Let's do it quickly. The product, it's an entity selection. It's a product. And let's create the search. Here is it. Okay, so now I want to display the title, the category, stock, and stock. I don't want to display everything. So to do this, let's choose the columns. Here, you can modify or you can delete them. So I want just display 3 of them. So I will remove the last one. Change the first one. It will be title, and it will be bind to title, and the width I will make it 25%. Wait, yes, I need to change. So this is the products here, and now, yeah, here's the title. After that, let's move to descriptions. Why not? Descriptions, change the width to 3%. Okay, so now I have a table that contains the title, the description, and the stock, and it's a responsive one. So if I change there is an issue. Okay, let's redisplay this thing. So I have displayed the title, the descriptions, and the stock, but sometimes I want to sort data by title or by stock. So to do this in Qodly or in the data table component, we already have these options. So I can go here, and in sourcing, I need to enable it. So I will enable it for title and for stock. For this description, I will do nothing. So I need to save it, click on preview. So now if I click on descriptions, nothing happened. But if I click on title, it will be ordered by the title. Otherwise, I can click on stocks and order by stock. Also, in stock, we can apply format. So if I choose is a number, I can do, yeah. So if the stocks is under 100, it will be shown in red. So we have so many formats, depend on the type, if it's string, if it's number, if it's date, if duration. I will let you discover it by yourself. Now I have already my craft component bind to search, and also these buttons are linked to actions. Like this one, standard actions is to product. I just need to make sure that the name is good for this one and for the other one. So now if I test them, you can check that for the search. Yeah, here is it. The search apply in the data table, and the same if I apply if I clicked on search with 4D to call the 4D actions, it will get me all the data from the database. So we have the metrics and we have the table, data tables that are some two of our powerful components that we can use to display the data. And I will let you discover what we can do with this two amazing components. Now, for example, I want to switch from the metrics to data table. So imagine if you are logged in a website, and you can display products by table or by card, and you want to do this in Qodly. You can do this by events, what we call a navigation event, or by for the functions. So now I will switch to my next demo that's talking about navigations, and in it I will display how to switch between web forms. So I will add 2 buttons here, and maybe I need to add them in a style box. So you can just drag and drop them in this style box. This one we will call it narrative. Okay, so I want, when I click on the metrics button, to display the metrics here. But when I click on the data table, I want to switch to the data table. To do this, it's really easy. You need to use webform loader. I want to put it here. And don't forget this reference. So now when I click on this button, add a navigation event, I want to go to the matrix, and I can open it in the same page, but I will lose my 2 buttons. I can use it in a new tape or use the webform loader. So I can use this one to display the matrix webform. So if you have many webforms loader, you can search by reference. So this is why I mentioned to make sure not to forget the reference. So if I clicked on metrics, I will go to the metrics webform, and the same for the data table. So now if I click on matrix, here is it. And if I click on data table, here is it. So we can use this, for example, to navigate between pages. If you are in a website, you have many tabs. You have the administrator, invoice, etc. And you want to navigate between them. You can use this kind of events. So, and there is one amazing event that I like always to use is when you go to the web form and you got the unload event. So I want, when I unload this page, to get the matrix display here. So I can choose the matrix, put it here. So now here is it. When I load the waveforms, he gets me the matrix, and I can switch between them. So this is the easiest way to navigate between waveforms, but sometimes imagine if you need to do it in the backend. So a user get logged in the application and want to start using it, but you don't know if he's a simple user, he's an administrator, or another profile. So you need to handle it by code. So to do this, I will do the same waveform. I will duplicate it. To duplicate waveform, you just go here. Let's call it demo tree. And let's remove these actions. This one also. So what I want, when I click on the matrix, I want to navigate to the matrix, but by using a 4D function. So it's really easy to do this. I create functions in the data store. I called it switch waveforms. So if I give it one, it will go to the matrix. Otherwise, it will go to the data table. Here is it. So if you looked here, we have two options. So we have the variable value and the, what we can call it. It's when you want to send a specific value, you need to enable it here. So for example, my function is waiting something like 1, 2, etc. So you can change the type here. You can send the strings object, but my function is looking for a number. I can click here on 1. And the result, I need to put it in a data source. And this data source, I need to bind it to this waveform loader. So I need to start by creating it. So let's call it waveform reference. It's a string. This result, I will put it here in the waveform reference. And let's bind it to this waveform loader. Let's do the same for the data table. It's expecting two as a parameter. So let's do it here. And so let's try it. So now if we click on the matrix, here's the result, and the same for the data table. So this is a good example if you want to do navigations based on the result of functions, because you want to display a waveform for the administrators and another waveforms for the simple client. You can use it like this by using 4D function. And the same if we go to the waveform on load event. I can save it here. If I clicked on the preview, the matrix is already load. So those are two examples of how to do easy navigations between forms in Qodly Studio. And now let's move to our last demo. Demo form. And I will show you how to start playing with CSS. So for example, for this one, I want to add a style box, another one. In it, I want to add some buttons. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the first one is, let's call it add CSS. Second one, let's call it remove CSS. The third one is show. And the last one is hide. Let's start playing with this style box. I will give it a width like 500 and the height is 200. Make it in the middle, in the flex, like this one. Let's add a border for it. Give it one, like this one. Okay, here is it. So for now, I have this this amazing style box that is an empty one, but I want, when I click on add CSS, make it a red one. And when I click on remove CSS, to remove the red color that I will add. And if I click on hide, this component should be vanished. And if I clicked on show, you need to be displayed. So let's start doing this. So the first one, we need to go in the style library, create a CSS class. So we have two types, local and shared. If I create a local one, it will be only used in this web form. And if I create a shared one, it will be used in all my others web form. So let's call it. Okay, let's call it. Let's create a simple one. Here is it. And here it's the background color. Make it red. And we can, for example, change the type of not the type, sorry, but the color of any component here by just choosing it and go to color in the background and choose the color. So for example, for this button, can make it a green one. This one, let's make it a red one, change the text, put it a black one. Same for hide, make it a yellow one with a blue text. So you can play with all this style parameters. And to start playing, 4D has already provided some functions that we can use to add or remove CSS. So here is some examples. So for example, set CSS, I need to give it the server reference. I will show you what the server reference and the class name. And based on the server reference, I can add the CSS class. So 4D already provide these functions, add CSS class that can help me add class to a component. You can also remove a CSS class. You can display a component if it's already hide, or you can hide it if you want. So to do this, we need to add an event on this button. So it's a function this time, and it's set CSS. I need the server ref and the CSS class. Let's start with CSS class. It was red background, and the server reference is the server side. So if you click on the component that you want to give it server side, you need to add it here in the data access. So for example, let's call it demo. So if I go back here, it's demo. Okay, now if I clicked on add CSS, the red background is applied. Now what I want, if I clicked on remove CSS, I want to remove the red color. So to do this is the same. Go to function event and use remove CSS. You need to give it the reference side and the class CSS. And I will add those events also, so to show one. So I have these functions is show. I need to give it the reference is demo. and hide. So all my functions are set, and let's try them. So if I click on add CSS, here is it, remove CSS, it will be vanished. And if I click on hide, all the components vanish. And when I click on show, here is it. One thing I want to mention is you can give it one CSS class, or maybe you want to many ones. So for example, let's apply another one. Let's create another one. So I will remove the border from here, border radius, and let's create okay, so here is it. So now, if I click on Add CSS, you will two classes will apply to this component: the border radius and the color. So, for example, if you have many classes that you want to apply, you can just send them and by adding virgule between them. So that was all. And that was my last demo. That's all. Thank you everyone for attending this session, and see you next.